Van D, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van D.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Well, hello and welcome, and thank you for tuning into my podcast, Get Motivated, everybody. I hopefully am going to help bring out something in you that you didn't have today, or something that I can help generate your excitement or your motivation of doing better today. That's my job, is to bring out the best in you. So I try to cover topics that we all can relate to. And one thing that we all can relate to is the one word that we want to avoid, but unfortunately we have it. And that word is, drum roll, da-da-da-da. The word is stress. Yeah, we have stress. I don't care how positive-minded and how happy of a person you are, we still have stress. So I want to talk to you about controlling your stress in business. So in business, it is important to be open to learn something new every day that will make you better at your career, like tuning into my podcast. But I was at church last Sunday, and listening to my pastor talk about stress, it reminded me, because that was his topic, the sermon was about stress. It reminded me that all of us humans will deal with it at some point in our lives. One of the commonalities we all have in business is no one is immune from a potential stressful situation. So I want to focus today on how to deal with those challenges. If you are doing any amount of business at all, you are going to experience some sort of stress. And I would say the only benefit to not doing business is you don't have any stress. But we do when we do business. So one of the things that Robert Elliott said is, rule number one is don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number two is it's all small stuff. I know that's hard for us to believe that it's all small stuff, but if you really, really think about it, nothing is more important than your mental health. So I learned long ago from a gentleman who I got to visit with at an authors conference in Anaheim, California. His name is Brian Tracy. I read his book, several of his books, and one of his many books is called Eat That Frog. Actually, it was pretty cool because 10 years after I read it, I go to this authors and speakers conference in California, and I get a chance to meet Brian Tracy. It was pretty cool because I told him how much I loved his book, Eat That Frog. So the premise of this book basically is to tackle any stressful challenges in a timely manner and get it out of the way as soon as possible. Don't sweep it under the rug, deal with it head on, and find a solution and move on. I can't tell you how many times in my career I've seen people totally stress out about a situation that can be remedied with a phone call, and instead they decided to avoid it, which only makes matters worse. So like I'll run into people and they'll tell me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, yeah, I've got a real stressful situation that started about 3 days ago and da-da-da-da. No. You've got to get rid of it quickly. If you know you've got a stressful situation, find a way to find a solution as soon as you possibly can. And guess what? In a lot of stressful situations, there are no solutions. You just got to get it out there and do your best to deal with it. In my industry, in real estate, we have stressful situations. Calling up a seller with a lowball offer that we just got. Calling up a seller and telling them that the people that are buying their house want them to fix 30 items on the inspection list. So we have stressful situations. That's just to name a few, but get it out of the way early. And that's part of the premises of the book, Eat That Frog, is if you know you've got something negative, get it out of the way first thing in the morning. We all have the ability to work through negative and stressful challenges. And if you don't feel you have the answers, then talk with people who do. Be resourceful. Reach out to those people who have the experience to help you. That's really the key. Use your resources. Get on the phone. Ask people. And remember this, much of the stress that we feel doesn't come from having too much to do. It comes from not finishing what we started. So if you know that you've got a deal you're working on, and so there's some things that you haven't buckled up yet and closed up, get it done and get it out of the way. As a broker, a real estate broker of 350 plus realtors, I had some of them ask me for my advice, and we would come up with solutions, and others who didn't ask for help, and unfortunately I would hear about it later when it might be an irreversible problem. I said I had some of them ask me for advice. Now, if you don't ask people for help when you have a challenge or a stressful situation, shame on you. I can't tell you how many times I didn't have an answer for a stressful situation, and I'd ask somebody and they gave some light to it, or they gave me a remedy or pointed me in the right direction, made my life 10 times easier. So we're going to have unforeseen stressful situation and challenges throughout our whole life. So let me just tell you something. I tell you to tackle it immediately when you get a stressful situation, but there's some that you shouldn't tackle immediately. My general manager at my company, who now owns a very large company, bought my company and grew it twice as big as I had it. I learned from him. When I would have a stressful situation, I was known for reacting quickly. And I'm not proud of that, because a lot of the times it was the wrong reaction. He used to say to me, chill out, think about it for 24 hours. He called it the 24-hour rule. Chill out and then think about it, and in 24 hours, respond. And I want to tell you something. 9.9 times out of 10, my response was 1,000% different than it would have been 24 hours before. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of time it didn't require a response. So that 24-hour rule of not reacting immediately and taking the time to think about it is huge. I'll guarantee that you will have a clearer head and thought process by thinking it through when you respond to it. So not all stressful situations should be reacted to immediately. But once you know how to deal with it, don't wait. Once you know you have the answer to deal with a stressful situation, don't wait. That includes personal life as well as business life. I was not always as calm as I am today dealing with stress. I had to learn to implement that 24-hour rule. Because like I said, many times I would respond to a stressful situation immediately, and I would regret it later. So just remember, I want to reiterate that to you. Don't respond immediately on situations that can wait. But once you do, know the answer, jump on it. Lee Iacocca said, in times of great stress or adversity, it's always best to keep busy, to plow your anger and your energy into something positive. So what Lee Iacocca is saying to me is, we're going to have stressful situations that we can't do anything about. And we have to accept that. You have to accept the fact that what's in front of you, you can't do jack about. Just deal with it. Plow through it and just create something in its place that will utilize your energy in a positive way. I also believe that we bring a lot of unnecessary stress in our lives. You know, my mother, God rest her soul, my mother would always use the phrase to me when I was younger, you are your own worst enemy. That bears repeating. You are your own worst enemy. And you know, I can't tell you how many situations I've experienced in my life, or I've watched other people where I was my own worst enemy, or they are their own worst enemy. And the reason why I say she was so right is because anything that was negative in my life or that didn't go as planned, favorably the way I wanted to, was usually my fault. The key is learning from your mistakes that caused you stress and don't let it happen again. You can avoid stress by knowingly not doing the wrong thing. And I want to tell you, anything that happened good in my own life usually was something I did also. So we're not just our own worst enemy. We can be the best of the best to ourselves. So let me cover a couple of things. I just want to cover these things with you that will help you avoid stress. Like I said, my job, my charge is to be helpful. So some of the ways you can avoid stress in your own career and life are, I'm going to give you 7 ways. Like I said, 7 ways that you can avoid stress in your own life and your business career. Don't be late. Number 1, don't be late. When you are late for a meeting or work, you are going to be stressed because you know other people will be disappointed and you know you should have been on time. You and I both know being inexcusably late is very disrespectful. Let me repeat that. Being inexcusably late is very disrespectful. I would hate to have the label of disrespectful. That's something that if somebody ever called you disrespectful, you need to work on it so you don't get called that again. Being late is one of the ways people can consider you disrespectful and stressful to everybody around you, especially you. Number 2, avoid stress is go easy on the party scene. Some of the best business people I know will find it more difficult to reach their full potential with success because they chose to be out late partying too much and they feel like crap the next morning. You don't think that's going to add stress to you? When was the last time you said the next morning after a night of partying, boy, am I glad I got drunk last night and I'm so glad I feel terrible this morning? You're not going to say that. Partying in excess causes stress in your life. They don't hand out awards for being a great partier because anybody can do it. Live it up, but not so much it affects your career and causes stress. I'm a big fan of celebrating, but not when it affects your career. Number 3, make feeling good part of your daily schedule. Create an exercise program that works for you. Maybe it's only 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Eat right. That phrase, you are what you eat, is so true. If you eat healthy, you feel good. If you don't, then you don't. Yes, it's that simple. Exercise will calm you down in stressful situations. Treat your mind and body like a temple if you want to live the life of a king or queen. And that really does help with stress. Number 4 is discipline yourself. Every road to success takes discipline and usually won't happen overnight. But if you have the drive, desire, and determination to eliminate stress from your life, it will happen. Anything worth it takes time. Create a discipline. It will become a habit, which will become eventually natural to you. Practice, 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 eliminating stress from your life. And it all comes through discipline. Number 5, concentrate on the positives. We should all do that, not just to avoid stress, but concentrate on the positives. One of the best ways to deal with stress is to be grateful what is going right with your career and your life. Sometimes write down on a pad of paper all the things you are grateful for, and that will hopefully remind you it's not that bad and you will get through this. Stress can sometimes be unavoidable. So thinking about the positives in your life will make you realize things aren't so bad and you have a lot to be grateful for. Number 6, this is very old-fashioned, breathe deep. Seriously, right now, stop for a second and take one huge deep breath. And then as you exhale, imagine all your stress and problems leaving you. What does it hurt? Take a deep breath, and when you exhale, imagine all your stress and problems leaving with you. Do this 3 times, several times during the day. I'm serious. Watch how much better you will feel. You have the ability to control your mind. Breathing deep helps release stress so you can focus on solutions. Believe me, it works. And the last one, number 7, is to help you deal with your own stress is help other people. One of the most effective techniques for reducing your stress is to take the focus off yourself. When you start devoting time to helping others, you will spend less time thinking about your own problems. It is a known fact that your happiness will increase and your stress will diminish the more you help other people. It works. You're having a bad day, things aren't going well in your life. See what you can do for somebody that needs you. If your business is giving you high levels of stress, you're putting your entire well-being at risk. Stress wreaks havoc on your emotional equilibrium as well as your physical health. It narrows your ability to think clearly or function effectively and enjoy your life. Effective stress management, on the other hand, helps you break the hold that stress has on your life so you can be healthy, happy, and more productive. Just remember, the ultimate goal is a balanced life with time for work, relationships, relaxation, and fun, and the resilience to hold up under pressure and meet challenges head on. But stress management is not a one-size-fits-all. That's why it's important to experiment and find out what works best for you. Maybe some of those 7 items that I talked about, maybe a couple of them won't work for you. But I promise you, some of those 7 will. You have this ability to get a handle on your stress only if you make it a priority. If you stop and look in the mirror when you wake up and say, I'm going to get a handle on my stress today. This is not going to stay with me. Make positive affirmations to get rid of stress. Instead of saying how stressed you are, say how grateful you are, and you are going to work on your stress. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have the ability to work on things that we don't like in our life, as well as the things that we want to continue that we do like in our life. But stress is one area that can change a lot of people, and it can also get you sick. So there you go, a little bit on controlling your stress in business. I am so grateful that you tune into my podcast. I want to make sure you stay motivated and trying to get better every day, because you know what? When we get better every day, we encourage, empower, and inspire other people around us to be the best they can be. It is contagious. So please remember, subscribe and rate and review this podcast. I love it that you're tuning in, and I'm super grateful. If you ever want to get in touch with me, van@vandeeb.com. Love to hear from you. Thanks again for tuning in, and get motivated.
A Parkville Media Production.